Hi Anti-Society, welcome back to the Anti-Social Planet, and today we are checking out some more Dreamcatcher with a Breaking Out, and I'm a little bit nervous about this one because it's a Japanese track and those are notoriously blocked on YouTube because Japanese copyright laws. However, hopefully you're watching this on YouTube because I need to see this. I've been told that this is either like an alternative ending or the official ending to the Nightmare story, and considering the like stomach-dropping conclusion of Pity, I need this. I need a better conclusion. Breaking Out sounds good to me because if they actually end up stuck in the curse, stuck in the nightmare, just forever now, I'm gonna be so upset. Even though like the MV is really good, like Pity is really good, and the ending does like give me like a whole body reaction, I want them to get out of the nightmare so bad. So I'm hoping that this is going to give me what I need, the conclusion that will make me able to like put this storyline on a shelf for a little while and move on to the next one. But I don't know what I'm getting into. So we're going to be checking out a lyric video first to listen to the song, and also because music videos tend to be the thing that gets blocked most on YouTube. So we're going to see how much of this ends up on YouTube and how much doesn't. We're playing it by ear, but then we're going to check out the actual video and get to storyline things. So let's check out the song. All right, let's do this. Ooh, fun synths. I'm waiting for it to shift. Beautiful vibrato there. Ooh, that's fun. Okay, I feel like, okay, we're getting into drops and choruses and stuff. Love the little flip up that Dami had there. Love the vibrato that we had on Yuhyun's voice on her part. Love the like momentum building up with this song and them talking about like needing to like break out, get out of this place. They said already in this dream, like acknowledging that they're there. There's a little bit in the storyline, at least from like my perspective, where there's like this shift where they're actually realizing that they're stuck in this nightmare, and it kind of like messes up the illusion. You see it kind of them become aware of the fact that they're in this place that they don't actually belong in, and that's when everything kind of goes topsy-turvy, is that they're like, oh, I actually don't want to be here. And that's when the curse starts to kind of go against them, fight against them, because they're not being part of it anymore. So saying like them like needing help to get out, someone coming to them, I think is really interesting, because it seems to be them trying to find each other for a lot of like the Pity MV. It feels like they're trying to figure out where the rest of them are, and the only time that they actually do it is like at the end when it seems like it's too late. See, like alone I can't get out, but they need someone to come help them. Ooh, the guitar coming in. Ooh. Ooh, Thami, no. No, I said no. Love the guitars coming in with that like slide. A lot darker sound than I was expecting, because like the synths at the beginning of the song with the verse feel very like there's lots of momentum, there's lighter tone to them, and then having this like darker feeling to the chorus. Love the like breaking out of the dark night, because we've had lots of night imagery. Earlier on, it was very much a comforting thing. Like they talked about being in the night and finding comfort in that darkness, and then like being with the stars, which I think of very much as like Insomnia, like them being with their fans and that being the points of light and what guides them in what they're doing. And then that shifting a lot more into something more sinister as the storyline went on, of feeling lost in that darkness or consumed by that darkness. So I love this saying like they're breaking out of that darkness and moving on to the next thing. Even though like heart screaming, I can overcome, the idea that even though they might feel trapped in the curse or the nightmare, there's still something like deep down inside that is fighting and trying to get out. Like even though it feels like they kind of gave in to the curse and became part of it again, there's still like that part down at like a soul level that is still like, no, I need to get out. I need to not be part of this. So really, really love the like darkness that really consumes that chorus. Like really distorted guitars. It helps us have Xian's like rich tone too. I love when it all cuts out. Okay, her like delivery there, like a little bit of a higher register than she usually has. Kind of like a lazy delivery, like elongating certain parts. I like how we're talking about fog again. They talked about fog in one of their other songs too. Was it Pity where she talked about fog, or was it just on the album? Anyway, there was definitely a part where they were, Dami specifically in one of her verses was talking about fog, and I talked about how that has this like blocking way, like you can't see in front of you if there's fog. So it's not just feeling lost in like a darkness, it's also feeling lost in that, like even when light gets through, it's distorted by the fog being there to the point where you can't actually see where you're going. Love her delivery though. She sounds great on this song. I'm sorry, yeah. Ooh, vocal run. I like the like footsteps echo. Like it's quiet, except for the footstep sounds. I love that ad-lib in the back too. Ooh, okay, different transition. We're getting into Geo Bridge. We love a Geo Bridge. Love the like layered vocals that was in the chorus as well. I love the way that the production like really cuts down at the end of the chorus. I just think it's really impactful, especially since we had the image of like only footsteps echo. That makes me feel like there isn't a lot of sound in wherever they are, so all I can hear is like the footsteps, whether it's their footsteps or like the other members. They're trying to find each other throughout this whole journey, like especially at the end here it's really them trying to like reconnect with each other. So having that be the only sound, and then with the chorus having a bunch of the production pull out so that it's mostly Xian's voice, I think is a really clever way of continuing that storytelling, where it's like going through this cycle of talking yourself up and gathering your strength and your bravery to be able to move forward and actually break out, and then finding yourself in your reality to a certain extent, because it is like a curse and a nightmare and all that stuff. But, you know, kind of finding your footing in your actual present situation and having to deal with the realities of that. So love just like that sonic storytelling. We're getting to a bridge though. Beautiful vocal there. Ooh, okay, I love that like build up, and then the like just the percussion there, like really muted percussion there. It almost like, again, like footsteps it makes you think of, but also like a heartbeat sound, like all this pickup again, and then like again placing you in this reality where a lot of the sound is being pulled out. Ooh. They're like bye bye give me chills. I love all the different vocals being layered in. Oh, I love that. I love how like the last words are like literally saying goodbye to like Nightmare, especially if it's using this as like the end of that storyline. Like they're literally saying goodbye to it before moving on. But also it makes me feel like they got out, which is what I need. I need them to get out of the nightmare, literally. Oh, there's another thought that I had. Oh, the story begins. I think is really interesting to see that because they're moving on to like a new storyline and kind of leaving this part of Dreamcatcher, this era of them behind. So it's like starting the next part of their journey. But I also think because part of me thinks that Chase Me is like actually more at like the end of the timeline with the nightmare. I felt like that since near the beginning. Like I'm like, oh, I feel like we're going back in time. Like we went back in time with the prequel stuff and then continued from that, like from Fly High we continued forward in the timeline, whereas like Chase Me is closer to like the end of that timeline. And I especially feel that like if you go with the ending of Pity where they're like kind of giving in to the like the curse, into the nightmare, integrating themselves into being part of that curse, then that makes sense that for like the way that they behave in Chase Me. So it feels like they're kind of looping back to the beginning of the story. Anyway, am I reading too much into like a single part of a line near the end of this song? Maybe. But I also could write like a whole dissertation about this storyline and my thoughts on it because I have a lot of them. And some of it's changed going back and like rewatching stuff, having the context of later MVs that I'm just like, I have so many thoughts. Especially watching Chase Me, rewatching Chase Me and like Good Night. I'm like, I have thoughts about this that I didn't have at the time. But we're gonna check out the video and I hope that the video gives me like some legitimate closure. Starting off with Jiu, she feels like more aware of everything that's happening in the storyline. We also have the red strings, which makes me think like red strings of fate, but also spiderweb, like being trapped. She looks a little bit worried. I mean, me too, girl, me too. They all look worried. I also think it's, oh my goodness, she looks great. We start off the song with Yuhyun, who's obviously like the problem child as part of the storyline, because we're trying to get her out of like the deeper levels of the nightmare, and then also having Jiu, who seems more aware of what's happening, but we also have some ominous stuff with her too, because she was also part of like the spider being brought in to the manor, and then there were like multiple of her and she closed the gates at the manor too, so like she also seems to be more susceptible to the curse as well. So having those two being the like start points, like visually having Jiu and then in the song having Yuhyun, I think is deliberate. See, now we look more determined. Goodness. This Bob is a lot for me. I need to be less charismatic. See, Jiu and Yuhyun there too, in the same frame. Okay, also part of my crazy theory that this is actually them looping back to Chase Me, like Chase Me being farther in the timeline. Their outfits feel more reminiscent of like the aesthetic of Chase Me, like the colors and the frills and stuff feels more of the like gothic style of Chase Me than some of the later like middle part of the nightmare stuff. Maybe. I just feel like the guy with the parts with the ghost hunter guy are near the end of the storyline. Oh my gosh, Xian looks great. Okay, I also realized that we're in like white outfits in the white room, which also makes me think that we're in like the end of Piri, right? Because that was like part of how Yuyen felt like she was like farther in the nightmare, in the curse than the rest of them, was because she was in this almost like blank environment, and they're all there at the end of Piri. So this feels like them being there kind of trapped within this web with all of these strings and trying to get out. Just thoughts. I'm just gonna rewind. Look, I go through a crisis with Dami like every time we do a MV. I feel like it's unfair that you're like Dami Yuhyun. Like, to me personally, I feel like that's a personal attack. We have some blue incorporated into the outfits now. I'm trying to like calm down. I'm trying to breathe. Which for some reason makes me think of Fly High. Is it like part of like the uniforms? Do they have blue? Is that why it makes me think of that? The red lighting. So it feels like we're maybe messing with the curse a little bit. It's a pretty minimal visual in the MVs so far. Ma'am. Oh no. Ooh, love the hand details. Diane, less charisma, thank you. Ooh. Oh, I love the image of them all like reaching out through like the strings and like not quite actually getting to each other. Like they're so close and yet they can't get to each other. And then I want to say like plastic wrap, that's probably not what it is. I don't know. I don't know what the budget of this is. But, you know, literally trying to break through like this invisible barrier. And we definitely had that in some of the lyrics previously. And then back to back, like so close and yet still separated. Do we have multiple Yuhyuns again? Ooh. I feel like them just like reaching out. I'm like, it's like enough to put me on edge. Like they're all reaching for the wrong person so they can't actually reach each other. Oh my god, I need less charisma from them. How many is that now? I'm like, we have Dami, less charisma, thank you. Gahyun, always, I need her to be less charismatic because, ma'am, Jian too now. I'm like, I'm trying to pay attention to storyline things and the imagery in this, and I need you to just be less charismatic. Thank you. I think it's interesting that we have them like reaching out and they're all kind of reaching out to the wrong person, which is why they can't actually like get to each other. I think that that's an interesting image. And they're almost frozen except for like their fingers. Did we have the swing in another MV? I feel like we did. Gio, less charisma. Thank you. I don't even, no comment as to ooh, love the partner work there. Ooh. Ooh. It's almost like, I mean, I love the like purple and like it reflected in her eyes. It's almost like she's the only one holding herself back. In the image, that's what it kind of feels like to me. Interesting that it's Tia again. Ooh. Oh, I got chills. Let's push back. No, I don't need the slow-mo. Ooh, I find it interesting with Yuhyun to have like all these overlapping images because it does feel like she's kind of lost herself in all of this. Like it feels like she's separated into like it's multiple people. We have times where she seems very aware that the curse is happening and then she falls back into it and then kind of breaks out again. Like she's constantly alternating between being these different personas and then having it all finally like connect again to a single image. I think is really powerful. I love in the choreo where they all like point to the floor at that one part of the synth. Oh my gosh, we finally got Yihyun. All in the circle holding hands again. We're still kind of... Aw, their smiles are cute. We're still kind of in the nightmare though. We're still in the white room with all the strings. But at least we're together maybe? What is the other... Oh, we had them all around in a circle when they were trying to get Yihyun back. Didn't we have them all in a circle holding hands in Chase Me too? I feel like around Thami maybe? Where they had like they had the candles and the tarot cards that were like on the floor of that almost like ballroom or whatever that most of the choreo is in. I feel like I'm gonna have to like go back and rewatch all of these in order and be like, am I remembering the right things in all of these? I don't know anymore. It's too late for me. I'm too far down the rabbit hole. I think it says a lot about how invested I am in the storyline that them holding hands gives me shivers because they had that pity where they're all staying in a line holding hands. And I was like, shivers because they're all together, but also shivers because it feels like they're still stuck in the nightmare. And I feel like that's kind of what's happening. I know this is like an alternate ending and it does feel like lyrically and like the name of the song is like breaking out. It does feel more like they're still trapped. A little bit better though, because they're all smiling at each other and they can see each other, which wasn't the same with PD. But this just, it doesn't give me the closure that I want, which is that they all live happily ever after. And maybe that's some stuff that we'll get into later, because I know that this is like the end of the nightmare stuff, but I also have heard, like, I know some of the titles for songs coming up, and I'm like, I feel like that is a connection to the nightmare story. And maybe I'm reading too much into it, and maybe I need to calm down. And maybe it's not that deep. However, that is not how my brain works. My brain has never been exposed to any kind of story or fiction and not been like, I'm gonna overanalyze that. You know, like every album I've ever heard, I'm like, I have a story in my head about what this whole album is about and how it all links together song from song. Some people think that I'm overthinking that when I'm just like doing reactions. I'm like, I do that with just casually listening to albums. I've been doing it since I was a kid. So I always overanalyze, and I feel like I'm going to end up going back through these MVs over and over and over again, picking out all the details and being like, how is this all connected? Like there's going to be a conspiracy board of some kind to the point where it's going to look like the scenes in this, where there's just going to be string everywhere, because I'm going to be finding the connections. I'm going to figure it out. And I know that there's like people who've also analyzed this, so let me know your thoughts down below. I feel like they're still stuck in the nightmare. I feel like that's what's happening, but I feel like it's also looping back to Chase Me, maybe, because I feel like we have the scene where they're like in the woods and they drop the book, and for some reason that feels more like them getting away than the rest of this. And maybe they've talked about it, maybe they've gone into more detail about like the actual storyline and all of that, but in my head it's not chronological, so I'm like putting the pieces together to what makes sense to me. I don't know anymore. I'm happy that we finally got Yihyun, and she doesn't seem to be like grabbing them and pulling them in more. It seems like they're finding her and pulling her out so that they're together, but it didn't give me the closure that I wanted. So I feel like I'm either going to hyperfixate and take out all the details and really find an ending that works for me, or I will invent something completely made up and just tell myself that that is the end of the story to make myself feel better. Either is possible, you know, but definitely leave me all of your thoughts down in the comments, because I want to know. I want thoughts on like any part of the nightmare storyline now that I've officially finished it. But I hope you enjoyed listening to that along with me. You can click this playlist to go and see my previous reactions, or you can subscribe to miss next time I post a Dreamcatcher reaction. I will see you in the next video. Bye.